What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with a review show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, ended yesterday. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Are you happy with the result, people? I am, if I'm honest. After it was a 50-50 game, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. Point away from home. You can't complain. If you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button. I am so close to the 11K now. 11K. So 9 to 1 away from 11K, people. So if you can do a massive favor for me, please do hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. And comment below, people. How did you feel about yesterday's game? Right, let me get the panel in. Let me start with, you know what? I've got both Steves, one from Wales, one from England. In the comments, who's better, Wales or England? put in the comments, people.
Who's better looking, eh?
I'll win that hands down.
People, who's better looking? Who's better looking? English Steve or Welsh Steve? Right, let's get into everyone. Right, first of all, we'll start with Welsh Steve. How you doing, Welsh Steve?
Yeah, all good, Ben. Getting ready for my big 40 tomorrow.
People in the comments, say happy birthday to Steve. He's a big 4-0.
Oh, favoritism.
Here we go, people.
Favoritism.
Here we go. People in the comments, say happy birthday to Welsh Steve. Not Steve, just say Welsh Steve so we don't get mixed up. Because this guy's 21 years old. Next up, we've got English Steve. How you doing, English Steve?
I'm all right, mate. How are you? I'm good. I'm happy.
I'm all good. I'm breathing. That's all it matters. That's all it matters, people. Just go through the comments, and Kevin says, "Where's the fourth person?" It was Lennon, but I think as these young lads like to mess around, so he might come through halfway through the stream. We don't even know. Right. Talking about yesterday's game, people in the comments, how did you feel about the game? Before we do this, there's loads of people say happy birthday, Steve. First of all, we're going to spot tie. Happy birthday, Steve. Right, Dad. Happy birthday, Steve. What's that, Steve? Happy birthday, Steve. What?
Deal.
What's that mean?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Bob says happy birthday, well, Steve, as well. Chris, Dora, handsome Steve. Which Steve? Steve Point.
Steve the handsome. Yeah.
Oh, Dave. Shout out to Chris from America. I hope you're all good. We've got some guy, some daily. Everyone in the comments, does everyone know who this guy is? I ain't got a clue who this guy is. He's not relevant. Make sure everyone subscribes to him, but he's not relevant to us. He's a newbie to us. So, yeah. If no one saw Mr. Do Daly's review after the game, go and watch it. No, don't go and watch it because he always gets the most views. People in the comments, no more Des Oldham on this channel. No more Des Oldham. I've had enough. Claire says, happy birthday, Steve. Eve says, hello, Mr. Dore, Stephen. Steve, hope you're well. Happy birthday, Well Steve, for tomorrow. Why is Well Steve going to love? His birthday is tomorrow, people. It's not today, it's tomorrow. Not giving him love. How comes I don't get this love for my birthday? So listen, Nick, happy birthday, well, Steve. Sunny D, you have a good well, Steve. Bloody hell, you get everywhere, Steve. Good,
I know.
as well. Brandon says, apparently we're getting close to a PSG goalkeeper. That's what we'll talk about later on. English Steve is disagreeing. We'll talk about that later. And Jolie says, happy birthday to the young one. I like that. Young one? Really young one?
I think he's on about Jake because it's his birthday Wednesday, Jake. He's not on about Steve, is he?
And last but not least, we obviously have number one day, all downhill from here, Steve. Happy birthday. So people like it, still there's 85 people, please, if you are new to the channel, I am 80 away from 11K. So please, before this ends the stream, get me to 11K before 10 o'clock. Get me to 11K and hit the like button. Right. Let's talk about yesterday's game. Ended 1-1. I'll start with let me start with happy birthday. Let me talk. Well, Steve. What was your opinion about yesterday's game?
Yeah, we're happy with the point. Would have taken it after the game, after the way the game went. But I would say if that goal was allowed, the Yates' goal, I think we would have destroyed them. I think we would have won about 3 or 4. I honestly think that because what would have happened if we had gone 1-0 up, they would have had to come out and attack. Which, to be fair, they look quite decent going forward, but they would have had to come out, left gaps behind, and we would have just killed them on the break. So I think that goal being disallowed, I knew straight away we'd get bitten in the backside. It always happens to us. I don't know what it is about us. Something goes against us, then we get bitten. To be fair, they played all right in the second half or the first half, if that makes sense, the last 25 minutes. But yeah, the second half, I agree with Steve Cooper. I think we controlled it. They never really looked like scoring a second, really. And I always felt the more they were pushing back, they sat deeper and deeper. They were frustrating us because they were. If you watched the game on the TV, I don't know how we came across in the pitch live watching it, but they just swamped that 18-yard box. It felt like they had 11 players in there, just back, and obviously we got the goal, which is great. We could have gone and nicked it really if we had pushed a bit harder, but yeah, happy with the point, Ben. Definitely taking that after the way the first half went.
English Steve, what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, I tend to agree with what Steve said. I was happy with the point, but I tend to agree. When that goal was disallowed, I thought, here we go. And then, of course, I think just after about 5 minutes after that, Kiefer Moore missed that sitter. And, you'd have put your house on him going to score. But then they got the goal, bit of pace, raw pace. You can't do that. And their guy gets in front of across Joe and sticks it in. Nothing there. But we just second half, we just look such a better team than what we did. Obviously, state the obvious. 3 months ago, we look a team, and we look a Premier League team, and you just sit there and you think we look like we did last year. Starting to look last year, even if there's few minutes to go, you think I think we're going to get it here. We don't look as if we're going to get turned over now, do we? We don't look as if someone's going to turn us over, and it was our bogey side. I was trying to work out yesterday when was the last time we ever beaten down there, and I think, if I remember right, I think Stuart Pearce was the last manager. That 2-1.
Yeah.
And they absolutely battered us that day, didn't they? And I think we only
first half. I remember the game that absolutely battered us over the first half.
Battered us. It was like the Alamo, weren't it? But yeah, listen, New Year's Day, sitting out there, I'd have said to you, what's that? 8 matches out of 8 points out of them 4. Is that what we've took? You'd have took your hands off of that, wouldn't you?
100%.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, great result. Gone to Wednesday, bit of a bonus, and then let's get Leeds. Where I think we'll beat them. I think we'll beat Leeds. I do. I think we'll beat Leeds.
If people just pick it, I want to tell you right now, there's going to be something special for the Leeds game. I'm not going to tell you right now, but I'll give you a clue. There's going to be an ex-Nottingham Forest player on my vlog. Do Daily knows who it is. Do Daily, don't bother put the comment out. Don't bother telling who it is, but I'll give you a clue. English, both Steves might know. So the clue is he used to play for Nottingham Forest in the 93-94 season. If you get it right, do Daily. Do not bother putting it out there. So if you get it right, I'll put it out. So the player there's going to be a player on my vlog for the Leeds game. In the comments,
did it just play 93-94 season 1 year, or was it 2 years?
I want to tell you this, Steve. You got to 93-94 season. That's what I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you what I to watch, Steve. I personally thought that the first 20 minutes we took advantage of the game. I saw Gibbs-White. We mentioned Yates the disallowed goal. If we took advantage of the game, but after the game would have won. Do you think?
100%. Yeah, they look so vulnerable at the back. It's just a shame we didn't have more free kicks and corners to pump into their box. They look really vulnerable at the back. They look nervous at the back. They were lucky that going forward they had that outlet of the pacey wingers. I thought their left back, I'm sure we'll come on to certain players later, but their left back ruined Aurier all day. And Aurier had a bad game, but I think that player made him have a bad game. I think he put him on the back foot. Zuma, was it? I think his name is Zuma. He looks a good player. But that new boy they signed, and Anthony, just caused havoc going forward. But going back, I thought, they cut out a lot of crosses, but I thought they looked vulnerable, especially in the box. And we're not really known for that kind of football, aren't we? Putting teams under pressure in their box. But it just seemed, if we got more chances, I think, and I'm sure we come to again certain players, but I thought, if we had more service to like some Wood, he would have gobbled one up. But yeah, it was just I honestly, put my hand on my heart, I think if we had scored that goal, it was allowed with the Yates, I think we would have won about 3 or 4. I honestly believe that. I think we would have tore them a new one.
What do you think, Steve? Do you think Forest we should have been more aggressive in the first 15 minutes?
Yeah, well, you always say that. I think we should have got at them a little bit better. But, you know, fair play to them. They held on. I do agree. I think we always looked like we were going to score first. Gibbs-White, the goalkeeper, made that good save. And then obviously the Yates one. I was a bit annoyed with Bolly, really, because I don't think Bolly should have got offside because he's looking straight along the line. And I think it was a bad one to give away. But yeah, what my point in all this is we're not getting beat by the teams down there, away from down there, and we're moving away from them slightly. I mean, that's like we've moved an extra point away from Southampton, an extra point away from Everton. But yeah, we should have been a lot aggressive. But at the end of the day, we've come out from a point. It's a horrible little ground. I don't mean that funny to Bournemouth. You know, it looks like a Speedo ground like you used to have in the 80s.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I know there's quite a lot of fans.
Like, shouldn't be in the Premier League.
No. The only thing I hate about Bournemouth, right, is the steward. Because I tell you a joke, right? I got in. I had my bag. I only had my spray in my bag, my links. I couldn't take my links in, and the woman said, "Oh, come and collect it after the game." I went, "What? My links? Come and collect my links."
Did she give you a ticket?
I'm like, I said to her, "Oh, you might as well keep it." "Oh no, you can come and collect it afterwards." I said, "No, it's all right. You can have for a late Christmas present." I'm like, no, that's the only thing I hate about Bournemouth. The stewarding is absolutely ridiculous. In comments, if you went to the game yesterday, comment below. How do you feel? If you've ever been to Bournemouth, people away, in the comments, how do you feel about the stewarding? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's the worst I've been to. But yeah, I just seen a comment about this is from Paul. Hey, Bournemouth had a handball in the box, no shout for VAR. Did any of you boys see that?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was. It was.
Yeah, wasn't he?
Yeah, handball.
You both talk.
It was handball.
Yeah, it was. What they're saying is, I know it's quite biased towards the Forest side of things, but what they're saying is that the ball stopped it going to Bolly. I think it was like his hand kind of I think it was heading towards Bolly's chest or stomach, and the ball just kind of deflected away from Bolly. So yeah, it was again, it's them little calls we're not quite getting, and then other teams maybe in the other box maybe Bournemouth would have had, just.
I think, like I said, if you did get a penalty, I think it would have completely derailed Bournemouth, because I thought the first 20 minutes was poor. The VAR goal, like I said, it was offside, as we know. But well, Steve, after that, especially the first half, we were shocking. We were shocking.
Yeah.
People in the comments get involved. How did you feel after the Ryan Yates VAR goal? We was poor. What was your opinion on it, Steve?
Yeah, it's football for you, Ben, isn't it? It's kind of like we've always had, Forest have always had this. I don't know what it is, and then every manager at every era I can think of, Forest have got this knack of something going against us, a goal, a decision, and then we just concede. I've seen it so many times. How many times I've sat there and watched Forest either live or in the house and gone, we're going to concede now, and it happens every time. It's just something that it's the mentality. I think is we get so disheartened. Instead of like kicking on again, going right, forget about it. It's been done. Hit them again. It's just we went in our shell, felt sorry for ourselves, and then Bournemouth just went sense blood. And you could see it happening, Ben. It was just, I thought when they scored, I was like, that sums it up. Like, are we up against it then? We got to chase the game instead of them chasing us. Because, like I said, if they had to chase us, we would have ruined them with the pace on the attack. They wouldn't have lived with us, honestly, because they would have had to come out and attack us then, because they would have to flood forward. Be it if they pumped the ball up to Moore or they played with the wingers. But yeah, it's just frustrated, isn't it? That why do we do it? It's a Forest trait. It's just been for as long as it means Forest. Like, it's frustrating.
What about you? Well, English Steve.
Well, I just think the decision when it took the stuffing out of us. I think we got that goal. We thought we'd got the goal 1-0 down there. and it just took the stuffing out of us, really, didn't it? And I think we were harping on it what could have been, and like Steve said, they got a grip of it then. And I thought half time came at the right time. If I'm honest with you, Cooper got them in there, got a grip of things, and then the second half, I think overall, I think we were the better team. I think we were the better team, and I think we came out second half a lot better. But I think the stuffing took us out of that goal, or the goal took the stuffing out of us, and we started to harp on it too long, and then it was a bit too late. They went and, like you say, they got their goal, and it lifted them. And that's what happens. Goals lift teams, and it lifted them and it deflated us. But we got in at half time 1-0, and then we came out different team second half, which fair play to Cooper.
100%. I'm going to go through the comments as well. This is from Long Hair Yeti. For Aurore was a bit off, to be fair. Wood getting unfair criticism, but played like a player who just signed and he hasn't got used to the team. He'll get better points, and he'll take it. We'll talk about Chris Wood as well. I know there's people still iffy about him with signing, but I thought first game as well, not getting used to players, and when he gets used to players, I think he'll get better. But that's the thing we'll talk about later on. I'm looking through the comments about people I did mention about the Leeds game. There's a special guest who'll be on my vlog. Let me see about this. Boo says Collymore, no. Chapel, no. Lee Chapel, no. I'll give you one more clue, people. And if Steve doesn't know this,
I've got it. I've got it straight away. I know it is.
I guessed it early in my head. I had a feeling.
Did he used to play for Coventry and Norwich?
Shut up! Yes. Shut up.
He's just texted me.
Who
it is? He's told me it's him.
Oh, you idiot. Absolutely bellend. Do you know who it is, Steve? Well, Steve, don't say who it is.
I have a 99.9 idea in my head.
Okay.
I'm not sprouting anything.
Don't sprout it. Just don't say a word, people. People in the comments, if you know who it is, please put in the comments if you do. I'll say something about it. The older generation will know. It's just the younger generation won't know who he is. But he was a great player in that time, in my opinion. He was a good player at that time. This is from Sunday D. Bit frustrated after this loud goal got us down. Turned up second half. Rescued a point against relegation rivals. Unbeaten on 4. Other results going our way. Can't say it went too wrong. It didn't. And that's the thing. Like I said, the only team that won was West Ham, and that was against Everton. So all around, it was a good point for us as well. And this is from Nick. It hit Zumans clearly in the arm. It did. 100% it did. But it's disgraceful, I say. As well, this is from Spesh. We were a bit deflated after the VR decision. It happens all the time. I think when we played Man U, when who scored? Was it Ryan Yates? And again, who was offside again? That game, Bolly. Why are you? Every time Yates scores, he's offside. I mean, it's VAR. Bolly, stop being offside. Right, that's winding me up now a little bit. Paul, another member to tell you people if you want to be a member as well, please do. I will read out your comments as well. Paul, it happened before the VAR against us, and we'll go to Peters for a while, 100%. Like we did against Man U. As well, there's a few people got it right as well.
Let's just give it away.
Well, I'm not giving it away. Dollar stepped up for Yates when injured. Dollar stepped up for Yates when he went off impressed. Maybe Yates should be arrested under concussion precaution. People in the comments, what do you think? Do you think he should be arrested? Yes or no?
Cooper said he was ill.
Yeah. Right, people in the comments, right. Let's get involved with this one. Ward. Was you impressed with his first game, Nottingham Forest? Get in the comments, get involved, yes or no. English Steve, what's your opinion on Ward, Chris Ward?
What? Yesterday's performance or signing him?
Yes, both of them, both.
Well, first I'll start with yesterday's performance. I think it must have been absolutely horrendous, difficult for him. I don't mean horrendous. Sorry, I take that back. Difficult for him because he signed on Friday. He then travelled to Bournemouth, and then he was given a number and said, "Right, here, are you playing?" As a signing, I really do think this is a smart signing, and you'll see why when he gets going. He's got 2 weeks now because he can't play Wednesday and he can't play the following week, and I think he will bring in a lot of players, your likes of Jono, Gibbs-White, and the Brazilian lad. So I think this is a good signing, and it's a Cooper signing because he was straight in. So just remember that, because if he wasn't a Cooper signing, would have had Steve Cooper coming out saying, well, he needs to adapt, he needs to train with the lads and all that. So, Cooper wanted him. And if Cooper wants him, I think this will come out. I can remember, did we sign Davis about this time last year?
Yeah. We signed Davis the first day. It was the day before the transfer window was opened.
And then all of a sudden we had these people going on there about his stats, weren't he? He's done this, he's done that. I don't know why we're buying him, this, that, and the other. And then we realised why we brought him. You can see why Cooper wants this guy someone to hold up and be physical. And I do think it's a good signing. That's my opinion anyway.
Well, Steve?
Yeah. So the 2 points is I agree with Steve. Shoe signing, my opinion. His stats not that bad if you look at it. He went for big money to Newcastle. With the money they got, he had a lot of stick in the fact that, they had all this money and they signed Chris Wood. At the end of the day, he hit the goals for Burnley. He kept Newcastle up last year with his goals. But with Chris Wood, you've got to play into his strengths. We've got to play into his strengths. Otherwise, you can't. I'm not judging him off yesterday. I am not judging him at all because that's harsh. I like what Steve Cooper said after the game about the presence he brings into the dressing room. Established Premiership player. He's got a big presence about him, big lad, and he like Steve just touched on now. If he can draw in 1 or 2 players, it'll free up Gibbs-White, Johnson, Lingard, Scarpa, and if he can get into the box, we've got to play to his strengths. So otherwise, he'll get lost in games, and then he will look like a big lump, like the phrase goes, up front, just getting lost in a game. You've got to play to his strengths, holding the ball up, getting in the box, whip the ball into him. I personally think it's a bit of a shoe signing. If Cooper can get the best out of him, I think he, like a Davis last year, he could get 5 to 8 goals for us by the end of the season. It may not sound many, but we do have a team which spread the goals out. So, I mean, he's not going to be that 10 to 15 goal striker. You don't know, right? He can do it. He's capable of doing it. But I think he'll be around about the 5 to 8 mark.
I'm going for the comments as well now. Like I said, people got opinion about Chris Wood. Paul says, think he'll bring something different to the team. I think he will. I think he'll make Brennan and Morgan Gibbs-White play better, or whoever plays that role, if it's Scarpa or anything else. I think he's a good signing. It'll take time as well. Like when he was at Newcastle, his confidence was low. It was really low, and Newcastle fan told me about it. Pete on Friday told me about it. His confidence was low. So hopefully, Cooper knows how to get the best out of these players. We've seen it before. We've seen it with Davis. We've seen it with Sam Sturridge last season. It will happen. It'll take time. So don't, Forest fans, just give him time.
He hasn't trained yet, for goodness sake.
Exactly.
He's literally signed the paper, got on the bus, and gone to Bournemouth. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Here's what it is. How you doing, Dave? I hope you're well as well. This is from Space. Agree with Steve Ward. Agree with Steve. Which Steve do you agree? Both of them were English or Welsh. Agree with Steve. What is a very good signing. We hold the well and create space for others. Like I said, we'll give Johnson and Morgan White better time as well.
Sorry, Ben. A quick example is how Bournemouth use Kiefer Moore. That's how we should use Chris Wood. Because the way Kiefer Moore plays, I'm not his biggest fan, but the way he plays is effective. That he brings the wingers into play.
You know what? Spot on. Because yesterday, when the way Kiefer Moore played, that's how we should be playing for Forest. That's how Wood should be playing for Forest. So, Forest fans, like I said, even Forest fans were saying it yesterday next to me, the way Kiefer Moore was playing. He holds the ball up and he was bringing in the other players around him as well. So, it's a good shout. Very good shout. As well, I'm going to go through the comments as well. Right. first off, we're still going to talk about first half, and I'm asking you, English Steve. Any players that disappointed yesterday? And people in the comments, get involved. Any players that disappointed yesterday, the whole game? English Steve.
Well, Aria had a bad game, didn't he? Yesterday, I think he didn't have a bad game, but Jesus, he's been great, hasn't he? So everyone's entitled to one bad one. Yates was not feeling well, so they got him off. He wasn't his normal self. But look, the lad's ill, so we've all known what it's like when you go to work when you're ill. You don't perform at a good level. No, not really. It was a difficult game yesterday, and these games are coming thick and fast for these players. And you have to understand one thing with Steve Cooper: he's playing virtually. He's only making one or two changes each week, isn't he? So, they're coming, and some of them are going to have bad day. I mean, like you said, you talk about Aria had a bad game, all right, and he did. He's entitled to one. We all have bad games. On Wednesday, he'll most probably have a brilliant game, and everyone forgets about it. But no, I wouldn't say no one really disappointed me. They stick to the role. There
was one player that disappointed me, but I'll get Will Steve in a minute to get opinion on it.
And Hennessy, I thought did well. I thought he did well under especially the vibes that have been coming on social media the last few days about goalkeeper this and goalkeeper that, and we're doing that because that doesn't settle you well. But no, I was fine with it. Like I say, yeah, I was fine with it, really.
Well, Steve?
Yeah, I agree with Steve. Uri probably, but like Steve said, he's entitled to one bad game, but I think he was only given a bad game because of the left back was ruining him. He was overlapping, he was running him inside out, and it was Anthony's side, I think.
Yeah.
The two of them ruined him. And when you're up against, this is the Premier League now, I know it's just Bournemouth, but they've still got two good left-sided players, and once you're up against that at any level, especially the Premier League, you can make yourself look silly. And it just happened to Uri, and he didn't start the game that bad. It's just as the game wore on and they got the better of him, that left back was tearing him. And once that happens, once you're running back to your own goal, you've just made to look ordinary, haven't you? Even the best back in the day, the likes of Gary Neville and these right backs, they were made to look like mugs half the time. It's at the end of the day, it's just I was disappointed with him just on the basis of the game. He's still a good player. What he's proved to me he's a good player, because I had my own opinions about him about a year ago. He's proved me wrong. But like Steve said on Wednesday, he could have an absolute stormer, and he could have the better of who's up against him, being Rashford or whoever it is. So yeah, it's just probably the only one who kind of let me okay, he's a bit off it today.
There was one player I thought was poor yesterday, and I saw a comment about him. I think it's come from Derek. Mangala was poor yesterday. Was poor. He was poor for me, Steve. Both Steve.
To me, right, he didn't stamp as authority in the midfield. For me, the midfield.
Right. You know if it is. I'm sorry to put in, Steve.
Yes, right.
Mangala, and I love Yates, but I know he wasn't feeling well as well. But I just don't think, especially Mangala, wasn't great, and I was happy when he got subbed off. It was because they didn't stamp the authority. Because
did you find it was a strange one yesterday with the midfield battle? It did to me. I know we get on to them soon, Scarpa and the Brazilian boys, but to me that midfielder was a bit of an odd matchup. To me, the game wasn't played much in midfield, wasn't it? It was either from back to front, like we were up the wings with Johnson, or through the middle with Gibbs-White, and they were down each wing. The midfield, I don't know if we had stamped their authority. If Mangala got on the ball more and Freuler, that midfield could have been edged one, because they didn't have much of a midfield, really. I felt the midfield, both midfields were quite flaky, weren't they? Nothing really happened. There was no 50-50. There was no playing in the middle, spreading the ball around. The game was like back to front, bang, bang, bang. Who could hit each other on the counter? It was that kind of game. So Mangala kind of got lost in the shuffle, really, didn't he? He just nothing in the game.
Who would we replace him with, though? As we stand now.
But this is the thing, and this is what I want to talk about, because, like I said, and people in the comments will get involved as well. Like when Mangala went off, Scarpa come on,
changed the game.
And people in the comments like, "Do you agree with me? Yes or no?" He changed. No. Who should start with? No, Diallo come on first, didn't it? And people are coming like, let's talk about Diallo. Danny Arlo, I keep getting this. Dan Arlo, Diallo, whatever you call him, the Brazilian wonder kid. When Yates come off, and come on, so let's talk about the second half. Me personally, seeing it live, we've got a gem. Someone that can play in that role, that number 6 role. Like I said, it's too early to say, but people in the comments, what do you think? I'm more excited for him than Scarpa. I like him. Steve, wait, English Steve. What was your opinion on him? I like him.
Well, my opinion on him is that in about 2 years he'll be worth about 60 million. That's how good I think he's going to be. And again, he just looks the biz, don't he? He's 21 and they've given him a 6.5 year deal. that says a lot what these people think of him. But I think, he's quality. And that was a difficult game he come into yesterday.
Yes.
You
know what? Personally,
he looked comfortable.
You know what I said to him? I said to I don't know if I said to Dave. In that situation, with against Bournemouth, a tough team, like they'll kick anyone. I thought it would have been a game for Colback to come on, but when he come on, woo! Okay. He's a good player. I like him. Well, Steve, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, Steve, was you at the ground as well, Steve, watching it live?
No, I was watching. I had a do in the evening, so I was watching it on the stream.
Okay.
I was watching it on the stream, so I couldn't go yesterday.
Yeah, so obviously, Ben, you said you're watching live. Sometimes you get a better feeling, don't you, than watching on TV. But
the feeling every time him and Scarpa, the connection with them two have, and as well with Loddy.
Yeah,
that connection seems like they play for years with each other.
Yeah. Well, and his performance, what stuck out for me, right, in the cameo he done, he reminded me of what Mangala, probably one of the best defensive midfielders ever to play football, right? Not comparing to him, obviously, yet. But what he did, what if you watch a defensive midfielder, every time Bournemouth were attacking, he was always there in that deep role. Even if he was just sticking a foot in, even in his presence, just there, shadowing the ball, shadowing the player, just mopping up, playing a simple ball as well. If you watched, it was simple ball. It wasn't like he's almost like he knows Scarpa would play the Hollywood ball and he'll just play that simple ball. He did try one through ball. He did try that and a quick sharp pass in, and it didn't quite come off. But you could see he's like with Scarpa did against Southampton. These Brazilian boys have got it ingrained in them. They've got that Brazilian confidence. Just come on the pitch.
They want it going forward. That's what they want to see.
Forward. I will come to Scarpa now, who's personally my man of the match.
Yeah.
He changed that game. And if you watch the two of them, straight away, pass forward. Get that ball going. Bang, bang, bang. It's none of this going side to side. We knew that we were chasing the game. And that's what impressed me. And like I said, towards the end of the game, when they were attacking, he was always there. And that's when comparing to that defensive midfielder like Mangala used to do. Even if he's not tackling, he's just there.
To be fair, like when Scarpa played in that role, he played in that midfield three with Remo, Fuller, Dinalo, and Scarpa. Scarpa, and you got to be fair to him, he wasn't afraid to get stuck in as well. And that's why I liked it, because I thought he might have got lost. Playing that midfield role. But to be fair to him, he got stuck in. And that's why I think I like that Scarpa, because I think you've got to be versatile now in the way people play football now. And you never know. Like we always play like Yates, Mangala, and Fuma in that midfield three. Maybe we'll play Scarpa in that role. People in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree? Yes or no? Would you put Scarpa in that role? Let me ask you, Steve. Would you put me in that role? Yes or no for the future? Because we've got Brennan, we've got Morgan, and whoever is at number 9. Would you do it?
I don't know whether I'd do it now. Oh God, that's a difficult question. That is, Ben. Scarpa came on and changed the game. I totally agree with that. He did. He gave us something extra. No, I'm gonna just not yet. Just not yet. I just want us to be a little bit more solid.
Yeah.
I think I'll tell you why, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is playing so good. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is unplayable at the minute when he's going forward. And I think if you've got someone winning that ball and going, there you go, Gibbsy, go and do your bit. And another one and he gets a lot of stick by certain people on social media, is Jono. Jono's playing well as well.
Let me see about Brendan Johnson, right? If people in the comments, his last three or four games, he's made 4 goals.
Yeah,
he's made 4 goals in the last 3 games, and Brendan gets lots of stick. Jono
and Gibbs-White are getting a real partnership together at the minute, and I just feel if we can, get someone wins the ball, and I think Dinalo, is that his name? Danilo, what his name? Diallo in that number 6. He is quality, and he will be quality, and he'll give Gibbs-White just a little bit of freedom in that hole. And if Gibbs-White's got space, he's going to run at you. He's going to cause you problems.
You know what? We're talking about, like I said, we're talking about Morgan Gibbs-White. We're talking about Brendan Johnson. Scarpa playing that role for me. He looks up straight away. But for me, Diallo for me was, come on. And I thought, I got worried a bit. I'm not going to lie, I got worried. But he impressed me. Steve, and when you see him on Wednesday against Man U, you know why. I know Man U's a different kettle of fish.
Can he play on Wednesday?
Yes, he can.
Oh, he can. Oh, someone said to me yesterday that he can't play.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
No, I thought he could, but someone said you can't play because you have to be registered for the previous round.
No,
so
you can play.
Right. Yes, fine.
Definitely play. Right, I'm just going through the comments as well. People got mixed messages from let's say game as well. This is from Derek, another member. If you want to be a member, people, please do, and I will read out your messages as well. So please do. Fuller totally frustrated me. He didn't see him enough to me. He gives the ball away far too much. Still haunts me by passing the whole passes he played against Brentford that led to the penalty. Fair enough. I think for me, like I said, I always have an argument with Des about Fuller, Remo. When he played, I think I don't like him as a DM. I like him if Yates is on one side, Remo on the next side, and maybe Diallo in that holding role. He did frustrate me a little bit yesterday, but he wasn't. But Mangala was worse. Even Yates was. Ryan Yates was let's say he was ill, so you can give him a point about that. So, what do you agree with that, well, Steve? What's your opinion on Remo so far?
Freuler?
Yeah.
I don't think Cooper knows actually where to play him at his best position. Because Freuler, someone made a point on one of these videos a couple of videos ago that he almost like he strolls through games.
Yeah.
And that's not like he's not making doing an effort. It's just the way he plays his football. But if they watched him in the World Cup, he played further forward for Switzerland. So maybe with Diallo now, and we still got the likes of Yates can sit deeper as well, and maybe allow Freuler go forward. I think he needs to shoot, to prove his shooting a bit.
He does.
Most of the time ends up the ball up you, Ben, and the top end of the I think with Freuler, I think it's just Cooper finding now. Maybe he's got that DM now, and just let Freuler go forward, and maybe we'll see a better Freuler now in the fact that he could have a range of passing we haven't seen yet. Because at the moment, I think he's been a bit trapped in this kind of, I got to protect now. I got to sit there and just play the easy ball. Because really, as Freuler he hasn't scored yet, but has he really opened the game up and put a through ball and like not a Scarpa? He hasn't really, has he? He hasn't really got us on the edge of our seats. I know he's not going to play here, but compared to what he did in the World Cup,
that's what I think. I think that's what more frustrates me a bit. Well, yeah. Steve, like I like him. I liked him when he was at what team was he at? I forget what team was he at now.
Atlanta, weren't he? Was he at
Atlanta? Yeah, when he was at Atlanta, I liked him. I thought it was a fantastic signing for us. And when he plays that role, and he sometimes he can sit in front of the defence, and I am contradicting myself on this. Like I said, I thought, and Des was right. Des will get big head after this. he's a frustrating player, but I just don't think, like you mentioned, well, Steve, he doesn't know the best position for him. And I think when we do, we'll see the best out of him. But people in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree with everyone about Remo Finio? Do you think we've not seen the best out of him? Would you drop him? Get your comments in.
Because Ben, if you looked at the World Cup goal he scored, right? I think it was in the last 16 or whatever the Switzerland played that game. I can't remember against. It went into extra time, and he scored. Yeah. And Freuler, he made a 1-2, burst into the box and scored from 6 yards out. I think he's got into the box with us yet. He's just sitting there, isn't he? He is not bursting forward. So maybe now, if we can free him up a bit, maybe he'll give him a bit of a freedom to play.
I must be the only one who thinks he's actually a tidy player.
I think he's a tidy player.
Steve, not here, Steve. He's a tidy player. I like him, but I feel he can do.
He can offer more to the team.
Yeah, he could do more. Yeah. He can do more.
But I think Cooper has told him that's where he wants him to play, and I think that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, we don't know. Cooper could say, "No, I just want you to sit back and just protect and pass it to players who can move the ball forward." I mean, we all know that he made one bad pass against Brentford. Sorry, we got caught there. Okay, fair enough. But to me, he gets the ball, he wins it, and he finds a red shirt, and he plays it simple. And sometimes that's what you've got to do with football: play it simple. But I think it's tight. I mean, I have the same opinion with you, Ben. Des came past to me at Southampton when we were going home at the Southampton game, and he says, "Oh, for all of this and for all that," and I looked at my lad and I went, "Has he watched the same game as what we watched?" Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't see what he was looking at in him. So I like him personally. I like him. Yeah, maybe we'll push forward.
People in the comments, what do you think? I like Remo. Do you think he needs to do better? Yes or no? The 75 people, and if you can do a massive favor for me, hit the like button. People, I think I'm 90 away from 11k. So please, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. It's completely free, and if you are a member, please do. It helps my channel a lot and gets me to get to games as well. Right. Let's talk about more Gibbs-White. The guy he gets better and better for me. And well, Steve, people in the comments as well, get involved. And this guy, he's getting better and better, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, like I said in the last video, Ben, same as yesterday. Every time he had the ball, you knew something was going to happen. Something's going to happen. The ball is going to be a ball fed out to Johnson or whoever's out the other wing. It was Taiwo obviously at the time before he got injured. Maybe now with Wood, he can sit a little bit deeper and run up players a bit more instead of coming deeper. You know what I mean? He can, because at the moment he's up top. He plays for the middle, doesn't he? So maybe he can sit back a little bit. Because some of the through balls he can, like the Johnson goal against Leicester, he can find them passes. And with other players around now who like to pass forward as Scarpa, if we can get these boys clicking, we got some attack. Because Gibbs-White at the moment, and if you notice with Gibbs-White, even though when he tries to give the ball, when he tries these little flicks, and he had a bit of stick off Gary Birtles yesterday. I know a few comments.
Don't mention about Birtles, man.
Right? He was. I know Gibbs-White. If you remember the part of the game, boys, where he done a little spin in the middle of the circle and he done a little flick, right? And Birtles just ripped into him and said, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing things like that." Blah blah blah. Okay, but maybe he's backing himself. When you're that good, you try things like that, and we will let him off as fans because if for everything he does like that, he will do 10 better things in the game. You can let him off a little flick, as long as it doesn't lead to a goal and really kicks us in the backside. But at the moment, he hardly does a mistake. He hardly gives the ball away. He holds the ball up. He attracts 3 or 4 players in at a time. He frees up the other boys to go forward, like Johnson. Yeah, he's just, at the moment, he is really living up to his price tag, isn't he? I'm glad in a way as well, because it'll shut up these people on certain radio stations and these pundits and, You know, the people have been
Talk-
saying we
to be
spent
fair,
money.
to be fair, TalkSport were nice about it. The other day.
Yeah, Natalie
Shout-
Sawyer,
shout-
is it? Yeah,
That shout to Natalie Sawyer. She has been nice to us. To be fair,
yeah.
it's just
Which is fair. Because
even that guy that I tweet every single time that when a manager gets sacked, I always tweet him. Even Tony Castorino even says something nice about Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
So I might stop tweeting him, but when the next manager like Frank Lampard might get sacked, Tony, I'm coming for you because you did say
That's happening.
you did say Steve Cooper will get sacked. So every time a manager gets sacked, Tony Castorino, I'm coming for your neck.
Can I just say one thing about Gibbs-White though? What I like about him, you can look at his confidence. He doesn't care about the price tag he's had. It's not like it's affected him. He hasn't come to the point. Yeah, he's probably thinking in his head, Forest have paid 40 million for me. I'm going to show him what I can do. Because it's quite easy as a player, that massive price tag in his head going, oh, crikey, I'm being just watched now, microscope to everything I do. He doesn't care on the pitch. He just like I said about that little flick in the middle of the circle. Yeah, it didn't come off, but he tries these things because he just backs his ability.
I'm going to go through the comments, and I think a good friend, Dead Oldham, has responded to you, Steve. Steve, tell us what Flynn has done and why Cooper moved him as soon as Diallo required. Are you going to reply to that, Steve?
Look, he's come into a very difficult situation. Yeah, we all have opinions. Yeah.
Yes, he said. He actually said to Steve he was passenger. That's what he said, Steve.
But then, hold on a minute. So was Gibbs-White that night, okay? Because the way our Southampton played, we were all passengers. Well, we weren't all passengers, but we were there, and Southampton were niggly. It was a typical Nathan Jones game. You know, no one was going to get hold of it, to be quite honest. Yeah. What I'm saying is, and I'm not disagreeing with Des's opinion, and he's entitled to his opinion, like I'm entitled to my opinion. But I don't see this negativity about him. I think he covers a lot of ground. He works hard. He wins those little niggly things that he does. Yeah, he's not flash. He's not the likes of Gibbs-White. He's not the likes of Jono. I understand that. His position could be under threat. I think with the Brazilian lad coming, I do agree with that. But you know, I just he's not a bad player, and that's what I'm trying to say. He's not a bad player. He's you know, who would you replace him with if we haven't got Dinalo? Who do you replace him with, or do you say no? We keep him there because I just think he works tirelessly, and that's what I'm saying.
As well, I'm going to go for another comment. This is from Glenn. How you doing, Glenn? Shout out to Glenn, big fan here as well. Fuller has played more defensive than I do like to. He runs the socks off for us. Hope Dollar can play behind Yates and finally allow Fuller to move more threatened forward. I think that's what we're trying to say, Glenn. But when Diallo sits in that role, it'll give more effective for Remo to run and give. Because like I said, the thing with me, he can give a pass. He likes to give that pass, that little slide pass. Like when he sits in front of that defense, you can see a passing. But we're going forward. I think he needs to be more effective.
Can I just say one thing, Ben? Just one thing. I think we understand this new Brazilian lad, is going to go into a position, and then Cooper's going to work his midfield out from there. I think we all know that. Everyone knows that. It's going to work from there. Okay, the lad's going to go in that number 6 role. That's how he sees it. And then is he going to push Yates further up? I think on current form yesterday, I think would you say Mangala's position's under serious threat there? So we know that's going to happen. So we might see a different Frawler, okay, to what we have been seeing.
100%. I'm going through the comments as well, and this is from Silver Clever. Hello, chat. Congratulations, good one. Keep it up. Gibbs-White look scored. Brendan Johnson 2. Get a keeper. I don't know. People in the comments. Do you think we need a new keeper? Yes or no? If you before I do, like I said, if you do want to come on tomorrow's show, Mr. Des Daily, you better. I hope you listen to Des. He's doing Italian with Des tomorrow. So if you do want to make a quick call to Des tomorrow, please do message me, message Des. The show starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow, so please message me and you can get involved. Right, let's talk about this goal scorer, Mr. Big. I'm calling him Big Sam, Sam the legend. He's been, and I want to say something about this, right? And it got my tits. Before, I think it was Thursday and Friday, I saw on some social media pages like people has an opinion, that's fine. saying he's rubbish, he's championship striker, blah, 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 this and that. Brought Woods in, but he's down on pecking order, blah, blah, blah. He come on yesterday and he scored a goal that strikers do. Right? That's what strikers tend to do. People in the comments, how happy about it? Because I saw, like I said, I saw his brother after the game as well. And he was so happy. And even his dad Phil, shout out to Phil. And he was so happy when Sturridge scores. People in the comments, do you rate Sturridge, yes or no? I like him. He works hard. He works his socks off. He might not be getting much game time, but he works his socks off. Getting people in the comments, what do you think of him? Last year, Steve, how happy was you him to score a goal, to shut up these clowns?
Yeah, very happy for him. Because I think, yes, he's not prolific. He's not. I know he hasn't been banging the goals in, but he hasn't had the game time. He had to really purple patch. He surprised me when we signed him. I didn't really go wow. I thought, okay, solid striker. I didn't know much about him really. I know he's been around a few clubs prior, but the end of last season, without his goals, we might have been talking about him now scoring against Bournemouth to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
I was really happy for him. I'm glad the boys gave him a round of applause in the dressing room. And to me, he's going to be a good clubman. I think he doesn't seem... I know I've heard rumours before he's been stropping, he's on the bench and he wants to leave and he wants to leave in the summer, blah, blah, blah. But you could tell now he's fighting for his place and you could see the raw emotion. It gave me vibes yesterday of the Gibbs-White Wolves scenario where the Bournemouth fans, you were there, Ben, giving a bit of stick. Yeah. And they interviewed on Match of the Day as well. You could see he had this real look in his face. He was so happy to rub in their faces because it makes me happy when players go back to their old grounds and score and they celebrate, because I'm not a big fan of players not celebrating. I feel if you score, you should really celebrate. I know I get it why players don't, and maybe they've been at a club for 15 years, say something stupid like that. I know it doesn't happen anymore, but I get that. But yeah, really happy for him, and he was in that position. Good striker's goal, like you said, back stick, anticipated the cross. I was screaming at the TV, "You better not disallow this goal."
Let me tell you something, right? It was funny, right? Because we were looking at VAR, and there's a Forest at the back on the computer. All you heard from it is, "It's a goal!" Everyone turned around, yeah! Before VAR, the referee said something. So we were celebrating before the referee said it. So it was mental when the guys said that.
Obviously, you Ben at the ground wouldn't have seen it, but when the VAR came up and the Bournemouth player's foot was slightly in front of Sam's, I was like, yeah, they're giving that. They got to give that. It was similar to the way.
But didn't Bertel say it wasn't a goal first?
Yeah, Bertel said it's offside.
Right. So the reason why I was screaming at the TV, because Bertel's won me up. When we scored, Bertel straight away was like, "Oh, this is going to be tight. This might not be given." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So when they re-showed it and they showed the angle, because at first someone mentioned Johnson was offside. I was like, Johnson's nowhere near offside. And then they looked at the back stick then at Sam, and then it's similar to the Leicester game where Leicester centre-half's foot was slightly playing Johnson onside. I was like, they got to give that. And then obviously they did, and I was happy that, we weren't being shafted of another goal. But
I know. I was like this. I was like, oh, not again. It was like, oh, not again. Yeah. We thought, it's gonna be VAR. But then, like I said, the guy who went to Forest had a computer. He just shouted, "Get it!" Everyone just went mad. It was crazy.
Coming back, just finalise my views on him, or in regarding where he goes forward. I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay with us now. I think Cooper will keep him. I think he's a real asset to the team without getting the goals. I don't know, it's something like he came on against Leicester. He's got this thing about him where, and to me, I don't know if you boys agree, he looks a bit more agile as well, a bit more like he looks a bit sharper.
Sharper.
Yeah. He may have lost that goal. He needed that goal.
Yeah, he looks a bit leaner as well, if that was possible, because he was always quite lean anyway. But he looks a bit more quicker on the feet.
I think he just needed that goal. He needed that goal because, like I said, I saw this. I'm not going to mention it over channel. Some guy was absolutely destroyed him, and I said, people, I don't fight on social media. if you're on a conversation about a Forest player, just talk face to face to me and let me have a conversation. I just don't fight on social media. Can't bother with it. But yeah, it was going to so much thing. I said I spoke to Sam's brother before the game, and he knew the same. He just needed that goal, and when he scored, I looked at his brother, and he was going absolutely mad. He wanted. He said to me, if Sam scored in the 80th minute, he said he would have run on the pitch if he did that. So it was crazy, people.
Sorry, Ben, just going final point. I think I just seen a comment as well about being into positions. A lot of ex-strikers say, I see the pundits on TV, and they say, if he should be more worried if the strikers are not getting in positions to score than get into position to score and miss chances. Because with Sam, he missed a hatful against Blackpool. He missed one against Leicester, but he's getting in positions to score. You'd be more worried if you didn't talk about him, didn't know if he was on the pitch, get lost, and go, was Surridge playing then? I didn't see him. He's not even creating a chance. He's getting in positions. Yes, he's not finishing them like he was last year, but maybe that step up to the Premier League psychologically do affect some players. They are on a bigger scale, and the world is watching them, and they feel that pressure. It's a big difference jumping from the Championship to the Premier League, which we are finding out now. And maybe just Sam is fighting an massive jump. We've seen it. Like Cooper said, now the world now will be watching us on Wednesday against Man United because we're in the semi-final and we're playing the world's biggest football team. This is where we are now. So
this is where we are, people. Like semi-final, I'm excited, people. I cannot wait. As I said, I've got a preview show with a Man U fan on Tuesdays to watch out, and as well. There's so much content coming out, people. So if you can, do a massive favor for me. Please do hit the subscribe button. It helps me a lot. So there's loads of content. As you know, Mr. Des is doing his dialogue with Des tomorrow. So if any members or any Forest fan, any Forest fan I want to come on the dialogue with Des tomorrow, message me today or tomorrow morning, anytime to get on the show, because I love to get anyone on to talk about Forest and talk about anything that you want to talk about. Right, let's go. Before we do, there's 3 minutes to go. People, who was your man of the match yesterday? And how would you rate the team out of 10? Please get your comments in. I'll start with you, English Steve. Who was your man of the match, and what was your rating?
I'm gonna go like what Steve said. I think Scarpa changed the game when he came on, and he just added that difference that we needed. And that's what we looked at. So I'm gonna give it to him. The team, I would go for 7 out of 10. I think they could have 20 minutes. First 20 minutes, we really were at them, and then we got the wind took out of ourselves a little bit with the VAR. So we let them get back into it and get on top of us, which could have been a little bit dangerous a little bit because of the ground and the atmosphere and the way they were in our face. But we got back to it and we didn't get beat, and that is the thing, we aren't beat. I'm just trying to look at we haven't lost a game this year, have we?
No,
Blackpool.
We haven't lost a game. No, I think that's a great thing. Like, we've not lost in the league.
Well, not in the league, in the cup, obviously, but we haven't lost.
So we are a team playing really well at the minute, and I believe we've got confidence. And I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to say it here now on this.
Here we go.
When we beat Wolves, the Manchester United fans and Newcastle fans were booking their minibuses for the final. This comes and bites your ass when you do that in sport. This is not going to be easy for us. It's going to be even harder for Man U. I'm telling you now. This team is not a walkover, I tell you.
So I think we'll be geared up for it. Geared up for it. So
they won't experience the City ground. They won't experience the City ground when that kickoff comes. They won't experience it. The noise.
Well, Steve, if he's listening,
sorry. We just crashing the playoffs all the time. Yeah, go on.
Who's your man of the match, my friend?
Scarpa.
Yeah.
And Gibbs-White obviously again takes plaudits for what he does in the game, but Scarpa for a game changer. No one's mentioned that pass again, diagonal pass he plucked again. Was that the Lodi again?
Yes, Lodi.
Over by you, Ben, in that position of the ground, over to the left wing.
Yes.
Again, didn't even look up. He pinged it onto his foot for a 30-40 yard pass. Like, it's unreal. these Brazilians, I know not all Brazilians are in the same mold. There's been some not just for Forest now, but in general. But I've always loved Brazilian football anyway. It's one of my favourite nations to watch. When you watch Brazilians play, it's just like they're playing with their mates on the park. Like they just
play with no fear.
Yeah, no fear.
Yeah,
no fear. Can you name any other player in the Forest squad who would have found that pass?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, yeah. Oh well.
Yes. Andy Reid. That's the first thing that come up. Andy Reid.
He could be the Brazilian Andy Reid, yeah.
He could be Andy Reid.
Yeah, Scarpa for me, 100%. Just got the game going forward, really pushing them back. It was almost like they were looking at him going, this guy can. What pass is he going to find? Because he kept on just. I never forget. There was one time as well. The ball came out to him. He looks like he was going to hit it with his left foot. And not about the air shot now. It was a little bit of time after that. He trapped it, and he dummied, and he passed it wide. So it's like the Bournemouth players didn't know which way to go. Scarpa for me. And rating wise, I'd probably go for a 7, only because of the second half. I would have given it about 6.5, but 7 for me.
My man of the match. Out of more Gibbs-White or Scarpa, I'm coming on that. I've got to give it to Scarpa for me. I think that midfield three, like I said, for me, Mangala was poor. When Scarpa come on, he changed it. When he got the ball, he looked up, not looking back, looking up, because he knew Diallo was there because he had no pressure. He knows that he had someone to sit there that can do the work for Diallo can do the work for Scarpa and Remo. So that made Scarpa played even more freedom. And that's why remember what people have said. I don't want to hype him up, but now I'm seeing the real deal. I'm seeing the real deal from Scarpa. But Diallo, people, Steve, people in the comments, when you see him at the sit ground, you're gonna be like really impressed. I know it's Man U, but he is a good player. Trust me. And he's only 21. I get excited, people. He's really talented. So for me, it was Scarpa. And the rating for me, I'll say 7. I'll say 7, 6.5, 7. Because of, after, like I said, the VR decision, we were shocking. And I think we should. Bournemouth, like I said, I don't want to disrespect Bournemouth at all. They did what they did. They had a manager under pressure.
I still say Bournemouth are one of the favourites to go down, though.
Yeah,
they're
not great, Bournemouth.
No, they're not great. Even though they got this rich Hollywood film star or whoever's in charge of them now, and they still got to attract players there. And they're not the biggest ground, they're not the biggest club. They've got to attract. I know it's a nice part of the world to live down there, but I mean,
Seaside's good for that. The Seaside.
Yeah, they look in trouble for me. They look in trouble.
I think the 3 that are in there now might be the 3 that are going to down.
My 3 are Southampton, Everton, and Bournemouth. Or it'll be between Bournemouth and Wolves.
I think Leeds.
I don't know. No, Leeds won't go down. I want them to go down. Leeds won't go down. No. I think we'll smash him. I can see it right now. And if Joe, you watch it, I think we'll smeet you. But watch out for that preview. That's going to be a great preview with me.
I think we will beat Leeds, and then he will get sacked.
Good.
That's my opinion.
The way they play. If we get the better of them, we could beat them quite comfortably. I think because they are so open. Leeds.
Exactly. Right, people want to get going. It's been a great show. Thank you, Welsh Steve. Thank you, Italy. Put people in the comments before we go. It's Welsh Steve's birthday tomorrow. So if you haven't said happy birthday to him, please get in the comments and say happy birthday before you do leave. Don't say happy birthday to this mug because it's not his birthday yet. So people get in the comments. Actually hammer him and say happy birthday to Welsh Steve.
I'm going to set Jake and Erin on you on Wednesday.
You can do it.
I'm going to say, get him.
Erin, you're a legend. You know how it is. Jake, different error. Right. People, before we go, people, like I said, tomorrow, Des is doing a Dial with Des show tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So if you want to come on the show, anyone can come on. Anyone. So if you do want to come on, please message me, message Des. That starts at 9 o'clock. I'm doing a show at 9 on Tuesday with a Man U fan, I'm there to come on Thursday. Review show Thursday. So people, there's loads of content coming out as well. Before I do go, I did say what player is going to be on my vlog on next week. Shut up, English Steve. Well, Steve, who is it?
Does it begin with D?
Yes.
And the second name begins with P?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is it? Tell us.
Dave Phillips.
Yes, people. If you know that, the older generation will know Dave Phillips is an absolute legend, and he will be on my vlog, and I'll be sat with him in the box. So I'll be there with him. So although if the older generation want to see him, please do. So
Very underrated player.
He got played. I don't know people. The older people will know. Like I don't know if Steve or both Steves know. He got played the season, didn't he?
Yeah, did.
Slightly, yeah, vaguely remember, but yeah, I was only 10 at the time, but yeah.
Yeah, he got player of the season for that year. So people, Dave Phillips will be on my vlog for the Leeds game. So please watch out for that. He is Welsh, Derek. He's Welsh. That's why I said English Welsh Steve will know who I'm about. Right, people, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you both, Steve, for coming on as well. Before we do this, there's quite a lot more happy birthdays. Welsh Steve. Happy birthday, Welsh Steve, from Paul. Paul D. Happy birthday, Welsh Steve. And Glenn, I haven't got a clue what that means. What's that mean?
That is Pembroke Hapith, which is happy birthday in Welsh, Ben.
Bloody hell, Glenn, you could have done some better for me. Come on.
That's really good for a guy from London. That's
normal for them.
Yeah, so, for me, for Steve, happy 21st birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, mate.
Cheers, lads.
Right. So people, like I said, thank you for everyone for taking part. Like I said, make sure everyone stays tuned for Mr. To Do Daily tomorrow, 9 o'clock. It's going to be another great show from him. Des, as always, he talks a lot, but he's a top guy, Des is. Right, people, before you do go, please do hit the like button. I'm on 42 likes. Please do hit the likes. Hit the like button for me. I do for Steve's birthday as well. And make sure you do hit the subscribe button. I want to reach 11K by the end of this week. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Right. Peace and love, people. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Up the Forest.
You ready?